Rimuru reincarnated into another world by Kischur. Dragon Slayer. Rimuru Pav. It has been exactly 10 days since my departure from Gloria, and right now I could calculate that I would be in my destination in about a day from now. Rimuru. It seems that I'm nearing my target. My target is the third of the 4 heavenly dragons, and the one who governs ice to the point that one would even mistake the dragon as a god because of how skilled and powerful the dragon is in manipulating it. Of course, in terms of actually power, it's nowhere near the high gods and even more so to Velzard herself as well. In fact, in terms of stats alone, I would really survive the confrontation since, even after training for 2 years and my stamina and endurance, training, with the goddess Sophia and Amara. My stats are still not even near the stats of the weakest of the heavenly dragons. Seal. Master, you don't have to worry, for I shall now initiate, flame. Right. What Seal said is something that I asked of her and has been actively pursuing a power that I have asked of her, and that is to release all of my current human body's limits. Because of that, she has been working on the power for over a month now, since if she were to release all of my current body's limits, my current body would die and I would then be transported to my true main body. In fact, Seal has already created this power before, when I evolved and took on the mantle of God of all creation. When I was in the end of space and time, Seal created an ability that would always make more powerful for every second that I was alive. But Seal can't use the same skill to my current human body though, with the simple reason of my current race body. Unlike now, back then I was still using my monster slime body, and because of my slime body being far more adaptable to a sudden rise in power. But my current human body is not even close to my slime body's adaptability, since if my body were to get the same treatment of my slime body of being able to get a power boost in every second, my body would just explode since it hasn't even adapted to the sudden rise in power. This would still be the results even if I have Seal helping my body to adapt. So that's the reason why Seal hasn't appeared in some chapters. Dear readers, of Another World. Rimuru. Oh, very good Seal-chan, maybe I should reward you. What do you want, Seal-chan? Quote. Despite not seeing it, I am pretty sure that she is blushing right now. Seal. Ma master. Rimuru. Ha ha ha. It is truly fun to tease Seal. But anyways, after she recovered from her embarrassment, she then explained to me my ability to increased per second, was altered for my current body to handle the sudden and rapid rise in power, and that is that I wouldn't automatically get stronger like previously. Since my personal ability can be called a Zenkai boost in some capacity really, since the thing that Seal said to me, is that she eliminated the limits of my growth and would allow me to get stronger and stronger if I were to hit my limits. Essentially, if I were to reach the limits, I would then use my magic to then spread it to the rest of my body and it would then fill in the limitless gaps, and then raised all of my stats immensely, and depending on what pushed me to my limits, then my stats would then increased in such a manner that it would be worth it to fight more dangerous foes. Essentially, if a normal training is the thing that pushed me to my limits, my stats would only increased a little bit, but if I were pushed to my limits through battle, then my stats would increased exponentially as well. And that is one of the few reasons why I want to fight the 4 great heavenly dragons, since they would help me increase my power to the point that no mortal would ever be able to seriously fight me without ever existing for over 1,000 years or so. Rimuru, can you go faster? I asked the dragon I am riding, which only nodded at my question, making me smile. Is that so? Then go faster just a little bit, since tomorrow would be the battle after all, so you could rest for the whole day. Hearing this, the dragon just roared in joy and just sped up. Of course, the reason why I asked it to go faster is because there seem quite a lot of people going after us, or more so for me, and I could also tell that they're not allies, but more so enemies, since all of them have bad intentions directed at me. And judging by their current pace and them knowing my destination, there probably been a spy in the castle. Well, I did made the security of the place to be quite lax, since I did want some spies coming in, so that I would kill them all or just interrogate all of them, if they have something that caught my eye though. But I didn't expect it to work so well though, since I do planned on killing the useless ones in my battle with the heavenly dragon, while the ones that has some used will be saved and protected by the darkness, since the battle would be in the dark of the night after all. So that I would have the advantage on the battle between me and the lizard. Third-person view. About 5 kilometers away from Rimuru, there are about 1,000 soldiers riding wyverns sent to enslaved Rimuru Tempest by the king of Kreris. When the king heard of Rimuru's great beauty and strength, he wanted her to be his concubine. Since in the barbaric kingdom of Kreris, strength and power is everything, even being a king can be acquired if they become strong enough, since in the kingdom being the king means being the strongest in the whole kingdom, making it so that one could even duel the king for the crown and be king. Because of their strong worship to power, it is also natural that they desire a strong lover wife as well, and so when the king heard of the power and beauty of Rimuru Arcadia Gloria Tempest, and so he then ordered the most elites of his forces to then enslaved Rimuru, and as for the king, he was personally training the troops for a possible attack from the kingdom of Tempest. Hey captain. One of the soldiers suddenly called out the leader of this operation, who only looked at the soldier in question. What is it? Quote. Why do we even need to give the girl to the king? Since if what I heard is true, why not we could have fun with her? Hearing this, the captain just looked at him surprised and disappointment, but no one noticed the look though. But for the rest of the soldiers though, all of them hearing this also voiced out their full support of having fun with the girl. Hearing this more and more, the captain just sighed and then answered. Do you know what you're invoking? The king has used his authority to have the girl for himself. The strong gets everything while the weak gets nothing. That's our law. If you want the girl, then duel the king for her. Hearing this, the men just stopped, with some of them sneering at the captain. But the captain himself didn't really mind even if they were to curse his name, since he doesn't want to incur the wrath of the king, since the king of Kreris is one of the Grand Sabers, ranking as the 34th Grand Saber after all. But there's also another reason why he didn't want to play with the girl though, since he's a spy sent by Alfred Arcadia Tempest to spy on the barbaric kingdom, and since the kingdom just gives everything to the strong, it was quite an easy to infiltrate the whole kingdom really, and because of that he has been giving the kingdom quite valuable information regarding the kingdom and their plans on abducting the princess. Because of that, when he sent the letter containing such information to the king, he inspected for him to kill the people that would be sent to her, but what he was ordered to do, was to let the operation continue and meet up with Rimuru herself. To this he was confused on why he was given such mission, but since the king was blessed with wisdom he merely just decided to accept it, since he knew that there would be Shadow Corps members near Rimuru herself. Also there's also the reason of he doesn't know of Rimuru's divine strength, since the only thing that he knows is that Rimuru herself is super strong because of the status reveal and all. And so with that he then gave his orders. Let's just see what happens. If we're to capture her unharmed then let's as you said then, but if we harmed her then we would do anything to her. He was disgusted at himself for giving such an order, but trusting on His Majesty's words that he needed to meet up with Her Highness, that means that at the very least Her Majesty would be a strong fighter that would be enough to at least kill every last one of them. As for Rimuru herself, she has now landed and then gave her little dragon time to rest so that it could fly fast enough to reach the blizzard dragon by tomorrow night, and to make sure that nothing happens to her ride, she then casted a barrier spell around the dragon to protect it. Done with her spell, she then went outside the barrier and then eyed her pursuers, and after looking at everyone, there was only a single person that caught her eye, her father's spy at the kingdom of Kreris. Rimuru. I see, so they're the ones that are trying to kidnap me. Rimuru said to herself, not even being mad at such prosper that someone was trying to kidnap her, but was merely looking at the situation in faint amusement. With that she then let out a smirk. Rimuru. Might as well take care of them before my battle, since I do need to ready my bones after all. With that she then outreached her right arm to her side and then a black blade appeared before her hand. The blade itself isn't her personal weapon, but is a construct of her shadow by using the Necrosword, since even she would feel insulted if she were to use the Necrosword on such fodder, and she felt that Necrosword also felt the same way, so by the command of its beloved master, it then created a sword made of the shadows of Rimuru Arcadia Gloria Tempest herself. Necrosword. Hey. Do your best out there. For I even made you by the shadows of Her Great Majesty Rimuru-sama. You hear? Black Blade. Hi. I may be a temporary existence. But just being wielded by Her Great Majesty herself. This something that my lowly self shouldn't even have the pleasure of. So with that I shall do my best to massacre Her Majesty's enemies. Necrosword. Good. Rimuru after inspecting the whole blade, just nodded at satisfaction on such creation, and with that she then floated after using weight manipulation skill of her sword on herself, by adjusting her weight to the point of near non-existence that allowed him to float, but not to the point that she would be blown away by the wind. Rimuru. Oh. I see, so this is how it works. It's a good thing that a familiar blade isn't as difficult at using an ultimate skill, if so I would need a few days until I mastered this function of the blade. With the help of wind magic, she then flew toward her pursuers and to free the spy of his duties that her father sent to the kingdom. As for the pursuers, they were having a steady flight speed towards the blizzard dragon, and when they were about to land, one of them spots something. Hey, what's that? Before he could finish, the man was instantly split apart, with his blood and innards flying all over the place, with his wyvern being startled and it moving all over the place. Boom. Then suddenly a boom sound was heard that made the men and wyverns alike burst their ears, making them bleed, and then a sudden wind strike appeared ahead of them which made all of them be flying to either crash into the ground or just fly to the sky. Rimuru, seeing this, merely smirked, since she always wanted to do that, after seeing just how weak this world is compared to the cardinal world, since she was sure that even Hinata could become the first Grand Saber in this world, and people like ex-demon Lord Carrion could even become a sword god with his vast experience and power. And with Rimuru right now being as strong as Hinata at her peak and have the skills that completely surpassed that of everyone else in this world, it would be an understatement that she held enough power to actually kill a sword magic god or two. With that, Rimuru then placed her left hand at the ground, and then the ground was covered in darkness, and then a dome made of darkness was made, making the Rimuru and the whole squad to be trapped in the darkness. And just like that, Rimuru now knows the location of all the soldiers that was sent to kidnap her, and with that, Rimuru's body slowly being absorbed by the darkness, and just like that, a massacre was made. Balex Pav. My name is Balex, and the proud spy of the Kingdom of Tempest, with my specialization being obviously being stealth, and I am quite confident in my skills in swordsmanship, and thanks to my time in Kreris, my physical and magical abilities also increased quite noticeably, and I have to hand it to them, despite being called the kingdom full of brutes. They efficiently made their kingdom to be strong physically and magically, since in this kingdom power is everything, and that is quite reflected by the way that this kingdom raised its people and soldiers. From the very day that a child is born in this kingdom, the child would then gain their status reveal so that they would know if the child is blessed by a god, for if they were blessed by a god of any kind, they would then be the property of the kingdom and is made used of their blessing to their fullest. This is shown by the child name of Amber, where she is blessed by the god of agriculture, and when she reached the age of 15 she was handed the position of the agriculture sector and is given both the responsibility and authority to do whatever she wanted with the sector. Since being blessed by a god, the person, or in this case Amber, instinctively knows the ins and outs of agriculture, making it so that even if the whole kingdom kinda neglects the agriculture sector, but thanks to Amber she is able to make so that the kingdom can be semi-independent of other nations. And that is also the thing that I noticed about this kingdom when I arrived in it. When I went to this kingdom I just thought that it would be full of barbarians, but it's not actually. The kingdom yes acknowledges power and would give rightful positions if one has enough power. In fact, even a child can have an high position if they're powerful enough. And when I investigated further, the whole kingdom acknowledged all forms of power, physical strength, magical strength, or even being smart and skilled at a profession. Even the information that the whole kingdom gives to the children is all about this as well. But that's not all even, they even acknowledges one's weaknesses as well. Like seriously. When I went to an history class about the kingdom, all of the information that they gave was 100% correct, and even detailed that they lose miserably at the war. That was something that I didn't expect of the kingdom itself. It is true that the kingdom accepts one's weakness, but they don't accept if one knows their weakness and wouldn't do anything about it. This is also highlighted by their history again. They especially said that back then they're weak, but after learning their weaknesses they were able to fix their mistakes and strengthen back up. In fact, one of the few things that I didn't know about at first is their dedication on creating false information about themselves. When merchants go to this kingdom, the citizens would just make a kingdom-wide event of just fighting each other, making a picture that everyone are just brutes. The reason for this, I found out, is that the third king found their weakness in the espionage sector, and since creating counters for it is quite difficult, the king just ordered the citizens to have a brawl with the children being stuck to their homes when that happens, just so that they wouldn't be harmed. And from what I can tell it did work though. Well, except for Tempest, since they didn't seems to realize that maybe some kingdom would do something like this though. And now why you're wondering why I am thinking about this right now, right? Simple really, since, right now every soldier in squad was massacred by Her Majesty. Balex. This lowly one greets Her Majesty, I respectfully said to her, while kneeling to the ground. Her Majesty, Rimuru, you can stand now, for I have a mission for you. Hearing her voice, it seems that the rumors of her voice sounding like the most beautiful sound in the world itself is true. But right now I can't be distracted since Her Majesty is ordering me right now. Belex, what may be the mission? Quote. Her Majesty, go back to my father and asked for him to launch an attack to the Kreris kingdom. Belex, why Your Majesty? If you don't mind explaining. Quote. Her Majesty, it's a part of my plans that this must be done, and don't worry about convincing father, for he already knows what to do. Hearing this, I just nodded and accepted the task, since it is rumored that she is the most talented strategist out of the family after all. With that I then left with the wyvern that Her Majesty left for me. Rimuru Pav. After Belex left, I then sighed and then went back to my dragon, while also using fire magic to burn the dead bodies of my pursuers. And if you're wondering why I wanted father to launch an attack at Kreris, this is to just discipline the kingdom and the various kingdoms that would try something while I am away, and this would make everything back at Gloria be more easier to manage without me, since the various kingdoms would know that Tempest would defend and interfere with Gloria if necessary. With that I then returned at my dragon's side and then made a wooden house with the use of magic to be my temporary house. With that I then rested and the next day. I then continued on my journey to the east to kill the Blizzard Dragon, and like I calculated I then reached the home of the Blizzard Dragon, which is a mountain range that was covered in snow, and the dragon that I was looking for was in front of a cave and from the looks of it, it was probably going off somewhere in the dead of the night. The dragon was massive, standing over 108 meters, making it even bigger than Veldora, with it having 30 meters of width. With that I then get off of my dragon and then slowly walk towards the Blizzard Dragon. Rimuru. Seal, activate the flame. Seal, activating flame. Third-person view. When Rimuru was walking towards the Blizzard Dragon preparing for a battle to come, the dragon itself was looking at Rimuru at mild curiosity and fear. The reason why the dragon was looking at Rimuru in such manner is because of a dragon's natural senses being superior compared to the humans. Because of that, for example, if a human were to look at Rimuru, they would just be caught by her beauty, and if a trained human were to look at her, they would again be caught by her beauty, but also feel the threat that Rimuru is more than she lets on. But for the Blizzard Dragon itself, it knows of Rimuru full power, but of course despite that though, the dragon itself has superior strength, but being a heavenly dragon, it knows of Rimuru's innate potential and that is the thing that made the dragon slightly fear the being before it. Blizzard Dragon. Oh. Why have you come here, mortal? The dragon demanded the being before it, while completely hiding its own anxiety before the mortal, for it was a heavenly dragon after all, he needs to keep his appearance. To this Rimuru smiled and then took out her familiar blade from her very shadows, and when she held the handle of the blade, she then felt an sudden increased in power. Feeling this, the Blizzard Dragon no longer needs any form of confirmation and just redid himself as well. Rimuru, for your head and heart. With that Rimuru then harnessed the power of the Necrosword and then a shadows before her feet erupted and surrounded her form and with a single leap, she appeared before the dragon and then strike. But the dragon was able to evade it by flying towards the open sky, with Rimuru following along by manipulating the shadows around her to fly towards the dragon. And because it was night time and that Rimuru is absorbing more and more of the lunar glow with her getting closer and closer to the moon, she was getting a rapid increase in power, and that only helped her catch up to the flying dragon. The dragon seeing this, looked at her and fired a strong breath attack at her. Rimuru seeing this gathered some of the darkness around her and her mana to the very edge of the blade. Rimuru. Tempest Arts, Kaladbolg. With that Rimuru then slashed vertically, creating an arc of darkness that went to the direction of the attacked and then scattered the breath attacked. Blizzard Dragon. What? That attacked has enough power to kill a grand. How strong is this brat? Quote. With that the dragon then slowed down on its flight and then gathered its power of its wings. Blizzard Dragon. You want to come closer, right? Well then here you brat. Quote. With that the dragon then flapped its wings towards Rimuru, which then unleashed a rain of ice that was fast enough to be Mach 50. To this Rimuru then stopped and then fall back from the attack, and then in a fast manner activated gravity magic and then pulled herself to the right, making her go away from the attacked range of the attacked. And as for the ice attacked, all of them hit the mountain range that there. Rimuru. Well, since you attacked me with such ferocity, might as well attack in kind. Tempest Arts, Phoebus Catastrophe. With that Rimuru then concentrated the darkness in her mana to the very tip of the blade and then fired a beam at the dragon. The dragon seeing this and feeling threat, decided to just create a barrier that held 70% of its power to stop the attack before him, but that was the thing that caused his victory over the battle. For the single beam then split into two and then those two split into two once more and that continued and continued, until when it was near to the point of not being able to run away in time, the beam of darkness was now in the millions upon millions of beam of darkness. The dragon this just thought for a moment. Blizzard dragon. Oh shit. Single quote. With that the beams of darkness reached their intended target and with that the dragon then felt a barrage of attacks upon its barrier, but no matter how many the barrier is hit by, it still stood in the onslaught of attacks. But despite that though, there was still some attacks that went through the barrier and caused some damage to the dragon. But before the dragon could do anything, Rimuru then appeared above him and with a wicked smile on her face, she then performed a downward slashed, but the attack wasn't a normal one for the attack was imbued with something that could even harm gods, and even Rimuru's true body. Blizzard Dragon. Oh. Shit. Quote. Rimuru. God's Bane. A skill that Rimuru gained when she entered this world. The attack is a special one, for the attack was originally meant to focus all the user's power into a single point and multiple the power by 5 and the name of the skill was Judgment. But Seal didn't think that such a weak skill would be allowed to be touched by her master, so she tweaked it and then made it stronger than ever before, and because of her changing the skill to a fundamental level, the skill can no longer be looked upon as the skill named Judgment. Since now, the skill focused the power of the user to a single point, and when the user attacks, the attack would destroy all forms of defenses, natural or supernatural, to kill anything in that single attack, that even gods wouldn't survive it, since the attack destroys the target, physical, metaphysical and temporary. It's an attack that would even give Rimuru's true body a serious injury if wasn't blocked. Because of these, Seal decided to rename the skill to a more fitting name. God's Bane. A skill that is designed to kill anything in existence. And with such attack in the blade, the dragon was killed just like that. With that the dragon then fell to the ground. And for Rimuru Arcadia Gloria Tempest, she was merely standing at the shadow platform that was on her feet. Rimuru. I didn't get stronger did it I? Right. She wasn't pushed to the very limits of her strength and didn't get stronger.